fundamentally appropriate, that understands that they're new to this work, leans in and gives them enough responsibility to where they know that if they got missing from the work, that it would be a problem. And that helps to demonstrate trust, and it helps to demonstrate that you're willing to share power when you give them that much responsibility. But, adults sometimes don't want to do that because we get scared that, what if they don't show up? And then we're left holding the bag. And sometimes that's going to happen, but it's a bigger problem if we never trust our young people and they never get asked to perform that much responsibility in our movement work, because they can't just turn on the light bulb at 18 if they've never been tested and supported in their growth to handle that kind of responsibility and to be part of movement work with that much responsibility. So it's important for them to practice those skills before they get to 18, because we can't expect miracles just because they cross into adulthood on paper without the kind of experiences that working together hand in hand can bring them. And I think that's essential.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And what do you think about those people that try to, as people get not quite in the 18 to 25 range, but maybe even in the 30 and 40 range, and they're ready to take the mantle of leadership in certain organizations, but then they get kind of thrown their whole attitude of, but you haven't done enough groundwork yet to step into that role. I'm thinking about like some of the criticisms that we're hearing with certain mayoral candidates and certain other things, and it's not just in Durham. We've heard it from other candidates in other cities and other places.
I just think people who have that criticism are not students of history. I mean, if you're a Christian, you definitely can't talk about leaders being too young because Jesus was 33. So let's be clear. I think that, once you're in your late 20s and early 30s, if you've done some groundwork, I think that it all depends and it's all about context, right? So if young people, or let's say younger adults, right, in their late 20s and 30s, have elders in their life that they lean into, right? They're connected to the through line, right? They pay attention to the lessons of the elders before them, maybe their ancestors that have passed on, and keep those close. If they show humility to that heritage and stay connected to elders that are still living, if they show respect to children and constantly want to stay in connection and community with those folks and have the respect of the youth community as well, that is a really beautiful thing to see. But I really lament this attitude that your 30s are not enough, because we know that there are so many key leaders and movements. I mean, think about the age of Martin Luther King, think about the age of Malcolm, think about Jesus, think about this is high company, don't get me wrong. But I just think that it's unfair in this moment to pretend as if we haven't been led to really great places, to really beautiful prophetic vision with people who were young. That just flies in the face of what we know about history.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't understand why people have that kind of attitude, but oftentimes they do. And it seems like they just want to not even look at the activists, whoever the activists are, if they're in their 30s and or 40s, and look at their greater picture, what they've all been involved in.
I was part of a nonprofit organization that was being founded by a gang of 2 or 3 20-some-year-olds, a handful. I think one person was in their 30s, and everyone else was in their early 40s, and we formed a statewide organization that eventually did work nationally. And so, and we had been nationally recognized. I mean, by the time, before I even got to the age of 30, my youth team and I, all young people in high school and myself had already been recognized 3 times in a row by nationally founded organizations for the work that we did right here in Durham, North Carolina. So, this idea that, like, young folks don't pump out stellar work that does great things for their communities is just false. I mean, I've been around it too often to buy into that.
Yeah, you've definitely seen folks that are doing great things, and it's covering all kinds of age ranges, everybody from folks like Carl Kenny and Alma Sadi, who are definitely in the older, above 40 crowd, to those that are like definitely still younger that are doing activism. I'm not even sure what Hone's age is, but I think she's somewhere in either her 20s or 30s, those folks that were involved in the taking down of the statue and things of that nature. So definitely in general, we've seen a wide range of people of all ages that definitely seem to get the whole concept of the fact that it has to be a multi-level movement in the sense of it can be dependent on just one age of people or one class of people or one race of people, but it's going to be a truly successful progressive movement. It's going to take a variety of people to be involved.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things as we wind it down, so we got about 10 more minutes to go, that we always ask people is if they have like a passion thought that they would like to share as a motivating kind of thing. That's one of our little taglines. So if there's something that you want to give as a message to folks that might be listening, that might want to get motivated to get involved in activism or just to get involved in life in general, or you just have like some little quote or saying that keeps you motivated every day, if this is your time to share that.
I'm just going to say a few things, and then I'll, jump off here, off the line. A few things. One, be a student of history and be humble about knowing that the work you're entering into when it comes to the betterment of the human condition is something that many before you have attempted, and that you have not stepped into a barren ground. It is ripe, and it is full, and it is fertile, and you need to know what has come before you and respect that history and lean into that history and let it teach you and let it show you some things. And that doesn't mean that you can't come up with your own ideas, but at least they stand, it's an acknowledgement of what shoulders you stand on. So that's one thing. And the second thing is that this work is very hard on the body. It's very hard on the mind, very hard on the spirit, and that one should take care of themselves. And that I'm not interested in seeing folks do this work in such a way that there's a conversation that's been going on Facebook with a lot of the members of Spirit House, which is an activist, cultural alchemist activism organization here in Durham, North Carolina, and they are my sisters, and I adore them. And I just need to say that, we've been having a conversation about how it is that we want to arrive to liberation, and we don't want to arrive to liberation shredded to pieces or sick or just unable to really indulge in the moment of all that work and what it yields. And so we need to think about not just what the work is, but also how we are living into that vision even in present day, whether it means taking a breath and meditating or drinking all your water, getting enough sleep, going on a walk to work out all the feelings that all this hard work causes in the body, doing some reading and leisure. It doesn't have to be anything exotic. It doesn't have to be, 5-star spas, but you do need to take care of yourself or else that's another way in which oppression wins.
Very true, because oftentimes we do not take care of ourselves in terms of like just the basic everyday kind of things, in terms of our exercise, in terms of our mental health, in terms of our spiritual health, and all of that kind of stuff. So we get too caught up in the moment of whatever the cause is and everything of that nature. But we definitely have to understand that we as people are definitely people that are connected to all of the elements of us, meaning that we're connected to our mental, our physical, and our spiritual. And if we don't try to keep those things in tune, then we oftentimes will find ourselves being unbalanced or in a state of imbalance, even though our work might be there and everything. But if an imbalanced person is doing the work, after a while, that work will also wind up suffering as well. So you are absolutely correct. We have to definitely find ways to be totally connected into ourselves. Otherwise, we run the risk of not doing the best work that we can do. So I definitely appreciate you calling in, Adil. And we're here every Monday between the hours of 7 and 9, and we're oftentimes talking about everything from activism to entertainment to politics of the moment to social justice to all kinds of other important things. And, of course, we're airing on all kinds of stations. We're on Blog Talk Radio, but we're also on iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Stitcher, and a variety of other platforms. So any Monday that you feel like and are able to call in, please feel free to join in the discussion, because oftentimes we're just having lively discussions about all kinds of things and trying to keep people informed. And you are definitely one of the people around this community that I look up to in terms of being involved and having been involved for a while. I know that you admire.
You are too kind.
Well, I know that you admire some of the work that I've done and some of the work that my mom has done and my dad, and I can say that me, myself, that the admiration is a two-way street.
Thank you.
So hopefully you will have a chance to join us on future calls and things of that nature. So, Dean, we got just a few more minutes. I did talk to Gary. He may call us in the next minute, but if he doesn't, that's okay too. But what are your thoughts for today?
It has been a very interesting discussion, man. A lot of good points made by all of our callers, and we thank them for joining us tonight, and they did an outstanding job, man, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done. There's a lot of conversations that still need to be had because, we can't just, I guess some people just talk about it, other people live it. We got to get more people to get involved, to actually put boots on the ground, and so we can combat this thing, because in this age with everything being so advanced and we have access, we can spread information in seconds now. So, in order to get it the way it should be, it's going to take more individuals to get on board. And I like the fact that we had a variety of individuals that called in. It wasn't just all one race or all one color. It's a whole bunch of people that are involved, whether teaching the youth and bringing them up in the way they should learn because of things that are not given to us. And then those who have experienced disparate treatment in other ways who decided, you know what, I have to fight too. So all of them are to be commended. We appreciate all of them, and we thank them for calling us here at the Voice of the People.
That's right. We are definitely becoming a platform for many, and we will continue to be a platform for many. We've got everything from authors to musicians to, of course, activists and others that are talking, whether they're trying to teach folks, as Mr. Wheeler did on one of our previous shows about flying planes, or whether they're helping our youth get involved in activism. There are a lot of folks out there that are working hand in hand with our youth, as well as across racial and ethnic and age barriers and other things of that nature, and they all should be commended for their work and their continued work. I, for one, am a big supporter of seeing all the great things that they are doing, and I continue to keep an eye on what they're doing as they continue to keep an eye on some of the things that we are doing as well. And we're continuing to grow, and we'll continue to grow. So we're just past that half the country mark of about 27 states, still trying to get us to 30 and eventually to all 50 of the states. So we definitely want folks to continue to call in on a regular basis. Don't forget the number is 646-668-8393. Show is almost over, but do write that number down. Keep it in mind. Also keep in mind all the various platforms that we are on, because we would love for you to join in the discussions as well, because, these are important discussions that need to be had and that we need to continue to learn and thrive to learn from each other and with each other. So definitely hoping that more and more people will learn about what we've got going on, and will use this as a platform to learn about things that are going on in the world, be that what's happening in Durham, be that what's happening in Virginia, be that what's happening in New Jersey, whatever the part of the world that you're in. And we don't mind talking about global issues as well. We didn't quite get to it, but it will be a continuing story, I'm sure, and I'm sure that we'll be following what's going on with Trump and North Korea, as North Korea apparently launched a firing volley of some sort or another across Japan. So they're apparently testing over there with Japan. So I'm sure that we'll be hearing more about that and what's going on the world front, and we'll have to keep our eyes on that as well, because, anytime you've got two folks, both of them, both of them, in my opinion, as crazy as a loon, over there talking at each other, then we got to keep our eyes on what's going on, because there's no telling what those two will do to each other or with each other, and we're caught in the middle. And yes, I'm talking about North Korea and its leader, and our own person. And our own person that claims to be our leader, even though I, for one, am not claiming him as mine.
Well, you know what? We're going to continue this again. Are we off next week for Labor Day, or are we on? So, we got about 10 good seconds. We'll say this. Check us. We'll let you know. We'll see y'all next week or maybe the week after. But we appreciate y'all. God bless, and good night.
And I'll call Dean, and we'll make it happen. Okay.